Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game So today I got a fun and exciting episode for you guys today because we're playing the recently released translation of the Hybrid Front. If that game doesn't sound familiar, it's an absolute hidden gem Sega Genesis and Sega Mega Drive game that is 100% the type of thing you could never play before because the language barrier was so dense and so deep, and the game had so many different mechanics you wouldn't even be able to stumble your way through a victory. And honestly, we've been getting so many amazing translations these days. There's been so many games on Genesis, Super Nintendo, Sega Saturn, otherwise even Dreamcast that have been buttoned up in 2025. It really does feel like the golden era again for these translations, but honestly the Hybrid Front definitely one that we needed to get. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. Now if you've ever played the Advanced Wars series, you're going to know 100% what you're getting here on the Hybrid Front. If you ever played that series before, you're going to know just how technically deep with so many different sub-menus and moves you can accomplish that are in this genre of games. And that is why trying to play this when it was in Japanese would be an absolute impossibility. There's just so many nested menus, so many different troop types, and so many different commands you could give them. It just basically becomes an absolute quagmire of a mess trying to play the game. And even if you were able to stumble through one round and get a victory, you really wouldn't know what was going on in the story, so it would kind of be demotivating as far as actually wanting to play the game in the first place. Because games like the Hybrid Front aren't just these real-time strategy battle games, they're also deep with story and lore to basically motivate you to want to take place in the battle in the first place. So it's so important that games like this actually do get these translations, not just from a technical level to make it easier to navigate the menus, but also from a thematic and storyline level, because that's what really going to make you want to play the game in the first place. And honestly, this is one I hear a lot of people talking about wanting a translation for, and as of today, it's one that's 100% buttoned up that you can pick up and you can go play. And just so you know, there is a link in the description below to the Nebulous group. They are the people that made this translation, so you can go ahead and grab the patch there and patch it up with any sort of IPS patcher. And if I remember, I'll leave a link in the description to the patcher I use. It is web-based as well. As we navigate around here, moving our troops and going into combat, you can obviously tell every single menu is in full English. All of the different stats and attributes, all of your different unit types, all of the different moves and attacks and weapons they have, you can now read that, and that is just absolutely and very obviously a massive improvement, because before you would probably know that the top attack was going to be something that would be useful, but trying to go through all of the miscellaneous kanji, maybe even trying to use your phone and Google Translate on auto mode, you might get a little bit of progress going, but you definitely get stuck at some point in time. You have move, you have attack, you have resupply, you have refuel. There's just so many different components you have to manage in a game like this. It is so much easier obviously when you can actually read the words. Think about playing something like Civilization 6 or even 7. It's one of those things, if you couldn't read the words on the screen, you'd have absolutely no ability to actually enjoy the game. And you'll see here in all of the different sub-menus where you see all of the different character stats, you're going to be able to understand what your units do, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and really plot your strategy, because that is the thing about a game like this. Strategizing what you're going to do next is of the utmost importance. You're not just playing the turn that you're currently on, you're also thinking a couple turns ahead to see if the following happens, I'll be in a good position. So planning and strategizing with being able to understand your troops is just absolutely going to hit so much better. And honestly, even though we're doing it about 30 seconds early, this game has an absolutely spectacular soundtrack and a complete vibe that I love, and now it's in English, so it's even better. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, I'll come back and talk a lot more about the translation. I mean, the music and the visuals are definitely something that would have come through even without the translation, but honestly, the deep lore and storyline in this game is really what makes you want to play it. The basic premise is that it's the 26th century, it is the future, and you're taking place in battles. Outside of that, I'm going to let you discover most of what the story is, because again, I don't want to have any spoilers here, but now you're actually going to be able to 100% follow along with everything. And when you actually get into the battles, it's going to be even better, because by the time this game ends, you're going to see over 150 unique troop types and variants. They're all going going to have their own stats, they're all going to have their own characteristics, and even trying to do your battle planning before you actually go into the round. Imagine trying to do this without the use of English. If this was kanji all over the screen and you didn't speak, read, or write Japanese, you'd be absolutely underwater before the game even started, trying to figure out what the hell you were trying to do. And that is why I love translations like this, because they're not just story translations and making it conversational English so you understand what's going on. It's also a functional translation of allowing you to just be able to play the game that much easier, because there's some games out there that are still in Japanese that are platformers or otherwise where you can 100% play the game from start to finish, complete it, and have a fun time even if you're not quite sure what the story is. Maybe you point your phone at the story beats and just go ahead and try to get a good understanding of what's going on, and then basically auto-translate it into your brain into conversational English. But something like the Hybrid Front, trust me, you would never see the end of this game if you couldn't understand what was going on screen, because once you have, 15-20 units out on the screen at once, all with their own characteristics, trying to manage that even when you can read the language becomes a full-time job when you're playing the game. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me, these turn-based strategy games, are they going to hit for you, or is it a genre that you don't usually play? I would say I generally really enjoy these, and it's one of those things I usually can't even install Modern Civilization games, because I think to myself, I'm just going to sit down for 2 hours, play a little bit and come back later, then suddenly 10 hours has gone by, I haven't eaten and I haven't paid any attention to what I'm doing. It is just basically a black hole for me. I love them so much I actually actively avoid most of the new ones because I know it's just going to be an absolute time sink for me. But the Hybrid Front could 100% do that as well, giving you all of these different boards, all of these different enemy variants, and all of this incredible story, and just basically sucking you into the game mechanically. And you'll see here it's basically the same premise of any other game. You're going to move, you're going to attack, you can resupply. You basically have to plot out your course throughout the entirety of the game. And this is just the first board right here. Sure, it's not the most exciting thing visually compared to some other games we talk about on the channel, but the fun here is just absolutely immense. And the best part is it's going to work on real Sega Genesis hardware. It's going to work on Mr. FPJ on the Sega Genesis cord. It'll of course work on software emulation as well. This is one of those games though, you can save after every single turn, so you don't really need to go to software emulation to use save states. Although if you want to kind of just save scum the game if you make a mistake, it is a strategy as well, just maybe not one that I would use. But you'll see here, even in this active battle, you're getting so many story beats. You're learning who these characters are, you're learning their motivations, what side they're on, and why you either might want to ally with them or fight against them. And that is so important in this game and any game like this, because there's so many different turn-based games out there. You can even play turn-based board games. So basically people pick and choose the games they want to play based upon the setting, storyline, and universe they take place in. So if you're into 26th century sort of sci-fi real-time strategy games, this one's gonna hit, and now you can understand what the hell's going on. And honestly, that is the biggest thing, because of all of the games I have poked through in Japanese in my gameplay time over like the last 25 years or so playing video games, I've never once sat down and played a real-time strategy game in Japanese, because it just gets too dense, it gets too difficult, and I realize even if I get some progress, I'm going to get stuck eventually. And now that's 100% not the case with the Hybrid Front. From start to finish, this game is spectacular. But one more soundtrack sample, 35 seconds, and I'll be right back with just a bit more. Not only is the battle music fun, and honestly Sega did help develop this game, but it gives me some Toe Jam and Earl vibes as well, which is not the type of game that you would expect to compare something like the Hybrid Front to. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me if you hear it, but I can obviously imagine Toe Jam and Earl just walking around Funkatron, listening to the beats from something like the Hybrid Front. And that is always a good thing, because these games take a long time per turn, so if you want to enjoy the game, you have to enjoy the music as well. But honestly, the translation on this is just S tier 10 out of of 10 good. Every single menu, every single story prompt, every single unit description, every single thing you need to have fun with the game is translated into full English, and the translation is conversational, makes perfect sense as to what's going on, and that is absolutely spectacular. We're even getting some more translations soon that I know about in the background that you'll be seeing soon on the channel. Like I always love to ask, leave me a comment down below and you tell me if you could snap your fingers right now and make one game show up as a translation, which one would it be? Because I always get some interesting responses. But if you want to play the Hybrid Front in English today, go down to the description below. The website with the patch is down there, and I'll make sure I put that IPS web patcher in as well. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you're having a great weekend. Leave me a comment and tell me what you're playing, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.